Good evening, guys. Hi, this is Spirit Journey. Today is Sunday, September 18th, 2016, and it's about 8:35 p.m. I'm thinking here about an incident that happened a couple of days ago. I think it was this past Thursday or Friday. I was walking with my dogs, and I was in a tourist section of Manhattan, and I was walking my little dogs. I have three little dogs, a Shih Tzu, a Pekingese, and a Havanese. They're all under 12 pounds. And I saw at a maybe 20, 25 feet away, some homeless people. There were two homeless people, two men, and they had two pit bulls. Unfortunately, I am afraid of pit bulls, and I am afraid for my dogs. So, when I saw them at a distance, I started to walk towards the curb, and I wanted to walk in the street, just I didn't want the dogs to see us, and I just like to keep a good distance. And these two homeless people, they was like sleeping, or just they were resting or whatever. And before I could reach the curb, the dog spotted us, and then they lunged. They didn't break loose, but they tried to. And fear, I had fear, and I raced with. I had to pull my dogs and get to that street because I would start running. I was very afraid. I walked walked quickly a couple of feet down, and when I felt it was safe, I went back on the sidewalk. So I felt a little tense. And then in front of me, we have in New York City, in the tourist sections in Manhattan, these, I don't know the term that they call them here, but um, outside of the U.S., they're referred to as barkers. They're like people who, you have an establishment, you get someone uh, of that establishment to try to encourage people to come into your shop or whatever. And so he said his line to me, and I I wouldn't have said anything, you know. I didn't initially mind him so much because I understood what he was doing, and we all have to make a living. He was a black individual, dark complexion, about 5'5", and he tried to use humor, and he was like making fun of the expression that I looked, and not knowing. So I tried to tell him what happened to me, and so as I'm talking to him and tell him what happened, why I may look the way that I do, he turns his back real abrupt and sees another black fellow walking, and he says, "Hey, you look like my people," or something like that. And he shook his hand, and I'm thinking, boy, that was rude. You know, it really turned me off extremely. And then the next day I went to walk my dogs. I said, I'm going to avoid that strip. I'm going to walk somewhere else. So I did. I walked somewhere else, and lo and behold, that same individual that saw me on that strip and was trying to be funny, and then he turns his back abruptly on me to try to get this other person, to engage. Like in retail, they they have this terminology of, oh, what's the term now? I don't want to say befriend, but you have to like cause like a um, give reason why this other person should even listen to you or qualify. You have to qualify that person to want to buy from you or whatever. And so that he's trying to build up a rapport. So when I saw him the second time, and I would not have recognized him, and he said, "Hey, I know you. You're that lady that I saw the other day with those dogs." And I would not have remembered the guy. He was just a regular guy, nothing really different. And so, I'm not really good with faces. But when he said that, I realized it was the same guy that turned his back abruptly on me. I said, "Oh, that's who you are?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I remember you now. Um, yeah, you're the guy that when I was talking to you, that you turned your back abruptly on me. And I thought that was very rude." I said, "That is. And then he cuts me off. There were two other people next to him. I don't know whether they work for the same people or not, but there were some individuals right next to him. And I think he felt embarrassed. So he said, he did this other technique of putting the disparaging, to put it on me. So he started to invent a story that we were going out for dinner or something like that, and you were just upset because that I didn't, whatever. He just, so I realized, I said, wow, I'm thinking this guy is a trip. But this individual is taught this. He's taught to try to engage. This person is a lover. He reminds me of people that I've met when I was in retail. A a Someone who is starving for money, and a greedy person, a greed, a lust, and they'll say or do anything at any cost to obtain their goal. They lack integrity. It's something. And when I saw this, I said, wow, that here now I don't even have to go to Hawaii to experience this. That's where I used to live. It's right here in New York City. And I haven't really seen that before. And that incident had me thinking just a moment ago about where we're heading socially and emotionally. Very really seen black people act this way. Act with such a, I know, it's almost obscene, that no integrity. That we were never perfect, and I'm definitely not perfect, and I have a lot of issues. But I like to see myself at least with someone with integrity. And I see that as blacks start to, American blacks start to um, permeate into so-called mainstream society, we start to act like the people that we're trying to assimilate with. And this is dangerous. We seem to be losing ourselves, losing our identity. And again, identity has nothing, I'm talking about our core essence. I'm not talking about how ebonics that we know. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about what type of music. I'm just your core essence of a person. And when that's being compromised, And when we start to become something else outside of ourselves, it's unflattering. And I don't know how this individual who did that to me a couple of days ago, how now I'm watching him. Doesn't he realize, okay, I live in this area, and do you think, does he really think that if I go back there again in walking, why would I even want to do business with him? But he's just seeing like the carrot, and he's just trying to bite that little carrot, and that morsel of what to him is the award. You know, I want to do business with anyone like him. I would not give them my money. So he just lost a sale from me. Please, it's I think it's so important. See, money can come and go. You know that we may have a lot of money in the bank, but there's things called hyperinflation or wartime, and where your money is worth nothing. You know, it's money's not even real, and yet we're fighting and doing anything we can to obtain this money, and we're losing ourselves in the process of getting the American dream so we can act like our oppressors and become fools. We're too good for that. Please. I don't know that individual's name. I never got his name. But if anyone, like in New York City, in the tourist sections, and you have those people going there, who work on the sidewalk to try to encourage people to go in the establishment, please be aware how you come across to other people. When you look hungry and act hungry, no one is going to approach you and want to do business. No one wants what they call the hungry. It is a turnoff, and you look foolish. And I apologize for that language that I just used. When you look hungry, it is it's unflattering. But when you act with poise, and you know your product, and you can answer questions when people ask you questions, that is something positive, and people want to do business. Don't act like the hungry fool. I also wanted to share about, I think where I'm really getting at with this individual that I saw, that we're changing. I don't remember ever seeing black people act like this guy. I never. I'm born and raised in New York City. I did live um, outside of the U.S. For about 6.5 years total. I lived in two other places, about 3.5, 3 and 3.5 years each. But I never see them act like him. And so I start to wonder what's happening with us as a people. Why are we changing so rapidly? And we're not, we have more opportunities now. I think more of us now have college background, and more of us have a little bit more money in our pockets. But why aren't we getting progress up here socially? Why are we acting the way we are? I met an individual it might have been 3 years ago, and I remember mentioning about this individual in another past video. Now, I feel that we American blacks are being taught not to like or trust one another, and I remember this individual I met at a gathering on Labor Day, And in the conversation, and he had talked to me first. He was part of two other individuals. And this individual in question was trying to protect me from something. And I appreciate him doing that. And so that's how the conversation started. I was talking about myself. I was talking to him about a business that I was starting, and he has his own business on the side. I forget what his 9 to 5 job is, but he's into the acting and photography. And in short, um, and I saw this individual, even though I don't really know him, it was just one time I saw him at this party. Um, I thought we were comparable. We spoke the same. We just, it just seemed like a lot of things that we had in common. Um, just, our disposition, um, just a lot of things. But in the very beginning of the conversation, he throws in, out of the blue, we weren't talking about relationships, anything of any sexual nature, but he throws in, oh, well, I like European women. And I knew right off what he really meant to say, that he's not interested in black women or women that look like me, but even though we sort of looked alike, but he meant he wanted a white woman. That was his orientation, and that is okay too. I think people should go out with who they feel comfortable with, who they gravitate towards. That's their business. But I felt like here we're so similar. So why why aren't we like, you know, together? Or, people like him or people like myself, why aren't we hooking up? It seems like people like us seem to be, as we move up or navigate in this society, we seem to be more oriented to the white person or the European or even the East Asian. And I'm wondering in particular with the men, how come, and his mother is black, an American black. His father is from Syria. And so that's what our fists kind of look similar. But either way, how come how come sometimes even men and women of similar, when we start to move up, why aren't we attracted to one another? Why, when we see each other, we freeze? We get afraid to be reminded of who we are, and we want everybody else but our own. We don't want to be reminded where we came from, even though where we came from is our foundation. And so I feel saddened about that I feel that as blacks so-called progress in America, we start to say adios past culture. We want to move up into the European American mindset. And I think we're compromising ourselves. Sometimes I look at some of the newscasters and I'm thinking back, I know that, that yesterday is not today. So I cannot compare myself as a 20-something-year-old and the 20-something-year-olds now. It's two different eras. But still, I say to myself, what I'm seeing something, and I'm seeing people that came out of the community, and when I see them on television, they seem to they act different. They it's something foreign to me, and it's like I feel that we're compromising. We're becoming something else that we're not, and it scares me. And one thing that we're all changing together, but we're still hooking up together. We're not hooking up. This individual that I was just talking about, he's not going to marry someone like myself or like you. He's going to look for someone outside of the group. And so our culture is being taken away, whatever what that culture is. That continuity that we had is not even further being broken down, because now we're not even going out with each other. Or like on the news, some of the people that you see, I can't relate to them. And this reminds me of a movie. I did not see the movie yet. And I don't even remember the name, but it came out last weekend or 2 weekends ago. Yeah, I think 2 weekends ago. That it's a black movie, and it's about a couple. I think they were getting a surrogate, and I think they had a black surrogate, and it's supposed to be like that movie that came out in the 1990s, Fatal Attraction, but a black version of it, Fatal Attraction. And when I heard it was about that, I said, I don't feel comfortable seeing it. Because the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, so you have a successful black couple, but now they're putting a fear attached to that relationship with another black woman. And I feel subliminally, it is teaching black men to not trust the black woman, to put fear attached to us, so that we're afraid to come together as a people. Even if we start to get successful financially, it is putting fear in to fear each other. This is again social programming, and it's poison to us. And we're getting deceived with these new movies that have black people, because they're wearing the fancy clothes, the fancy cars, the fancy homes. That's all to hook you into watching it and getting programmed and programmed for harm. The message is, don't associate with your own, don't find comfort in your own, hate and fear your own. And so what's going to happen? So I'm just saying, we got to be on top of it. We have to try to see through the lies. I'm saying this to myself too, because I'm human too. I see the same things that you see, and some things get into your brain subliminally. You're not even conscious of it, but you're having all this fear and anxiety. We have to really, be aware. And not to be ashamed that we're feeling these things. Talk to one another. Say, hey, how did you feel about when you saw that show? What do you think that movie was really about? And most likely your first response is the most accurate. We are being socially programmed, and not just us, but the whole world. We all have different programs that are being put upon us, and this is just one of them. So I'm just saying, love yourself. When you look in the mirror, hug yourself, kiss yourself, tell yourself, I am loved, I love myself, and I love you, brother and sister. Let's fight the enemy with knowledge, and so we can move forward and teach your children. Teach your children what's happening, because they too are being affected. And the black male in New York City, it seems to be being programmed. If they don't go to some other ethnic group, they're being taught and to embrace homosexuality. There are a lot of gay men now in New York City. Why is this? You're being socially programmed. And then you're getting rewarded with these new lifestyle. They don't want us to reproduce and have communities. Let us have communities. Let's fight the system with knowledge. And maybe initially you might feel uncomfortable going against the emotional grain in your body because of the program. So it's going to feel bumpy. It's going to feel unnatural, and that's only because of the false programming that they put in our heads, and that's what we're resisting. But fight through it for our survival, for your survival. Okay? Yes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it made sense to you, and definitely share this video with friends and family members. Share it in the community. Let them know what's going on. Let's teach one another. Each one, teach one. You can also subscribe to my channel, Spirit Journey. And once again, please like and give me the thumbs up. So take care, guys. Enjoy your week.